Back again with another review, and this time we're doing an animated series on Netflix. That's right, we're here for more monsters. And if you've watched this channel at all, then you know that I am a huge kaiju fan, Monsterverse fan of the actual universe that's going on with legendary films right now, from Godzilla King Kong to Godzilla vs. King Kong, Godzilla King of All Monsters. I mean, there's quite a few movies that have been in there, and I've thoroughly enjoyed pretty much all of them. I grew up being a huge Godzilla fan and King Kong, but mostly Godzilla. And the rejuvenation of the characters over the last, I guess it's almost 10 years now, because the first Godzilla, the new Godzilla came out, I believe, 2014, so we're getting close to that 10-year mark. But I really enjoyed all the movies. The plot and premise sometimes for the movies, honestly, it doesn't really matter to me that much because it's just giant monsters fighting. And if I get enough of that, then it's exactly what I want. But the movies honestly just have not let me down. And all of them, I've watched all of them multiple times. Typically, the people are the weakest part of that. But at the same time, like I said, I go to those to watch monsters. So that's exactly what I want to see. I heard a little while back that they actually were expanding the Monsterverse because there wasn't really an idea of what was going to happen after Godzilla vs. Kong, but now we know that there is a sequel to that that's coming out, which we've seen a trailer for, which looks awesome. But they also were going to do some different shows, and I knew there was going to be a Netflix show that was centered around Skull Island. And I think I remember hearing that it was actually animated. And then all of a sudden, unbeknownst to me, even though I try and react to a lot of trailers and stay in the know, the show just dropped on Netflix, and there it was. So I said, hey, I'm going to watch this. I don't even think I'd actually seen the trailer for this one, which is really weird because it kind of just snuck by me, but I went into this one really blind and had no idea what to expect, and I started that first episode. The basic premise of what I got from the early episode was basically you had a more or less cryptid hunter or, a person that's out there looking for something that he saw when he was young. And it's cool art design that they have for this one. I can't remember. It's kind of like, if you want to say maybe like a little Johnny Quest-ish, but like updated, and it looks pretty modern, and maybe a little more cell animation in there as well. But it looked really good. The dialogue was, it was pretty good. It was okay. It was introducing all these new characters. And in the ocean, he's trying to discover what that is. So an adventurer discover, and he's got his kid with him, and then there's a cast and crew that goes around that one. And at first I was like, this is kind of cool. It's a little slow, and it's like, well, this is just going to be like kid focused and kid centric on this one. And then everybody started dying, which is a common theme in this show. There are so many times where people just get eaten or squished or murdered horribly, and it's perfect. It's perfect for this show because it wants to remind you that this is a very scary place. And honestly, what I've always gotten from King Kong movies when they visit Skull Island is they're terrifying. I mean, it's a prehistoric-ish kind of island where there's prehistoric animals that are loose and maybe even things we've never even seen. And that's what this show does wonderfully. It's freaking scary. You realize very quickly that if you were dropped on this island, because this one's setting, I believe, is in the 90s, and there's just so many things, and everything there is out to eat you pretty much. And each episode, it kind of goes in, and there's a different type of monster that gets explored and kind of shown, and how do they kind of get around that one, or do they get around that one, or do they go in that one because it ate them? It happens a good bit. The episodes, it's a fast watch. They're about 20 to 25 minutes each. I think there's 8 episodes total, and the story itself comes together towards the end because there are a couple other stories. Again, it's, if you've ever watched old Godzilla stuff or old King Kong things, there's some weird stuff that goes into there. If it's aliens that are happening, there's different plots that are happening all over the place, and this one's no different. There's some interesting things where I didn't really know what was happening. You don't really know what's happening as the actual viewer until it becomes more clear at the end, which I'm sure is what the point of the story is. But there's another team of people that these adventurers end up banding together with that's on the search for a girl that was lost at sea a long time ago, and her pet dog, which, if you haven't seen this one, dog is maybe my favorite part of the actual show, probably because he just really reminds me of a thing that I have laying right here. Like, he looks kind of like a Frenchie, but just gigantic and eating people. It's fantastic. Either way, you get a bunch of cool different new monsters. You're trying to figure out what's going on with the story, and then it becomes much more Kong focused towards the second half, and I dug it so much. It was so cool. It's a different kind of view on Kong from this Monsterverse, in my opinion, because a lot of what we've seen from Kong thus far is he doesn't necessarily have a lot of interaction with the people. I mean, he's Gigantor. I mean, much like Godzilla. I mean, Godzilla doesn't really interact with people per se a lot, especially like individual people. But what this one does is it does lean a little more into the fact that he has a personality and that he does actually like some people. I mean, if you've seen Godzilla vs. Kong, he had a connection with the little girl that was in that one. There's something similar, or maybe even something that was like the root of that. maybe relationship in this one. It's not over the top like the old King Kongs where he's clearly in love with this little blonde girl and wants to marry her and blah, blah, blah. Although I do really like the old ones. But this is something different and new, and his relationship with some of the people that are stranded on the island and what happens to them. I don't want to give it away because I want people to go and check this one out so we get more of it, because I do think it was really, really cool. It's pretty sad, and they do introduce a new Titan, which if you've seen the trailer, you probably may know what that is, but just in case you don't, I'm not really going to say it exactly, but it's pretty horrifying. And there's a cool final fight that happens, and there's some just really weird stuff that happens in this show that I thoroughly enjoyed. I'm definitely going to go back and watch it again. Again, it's a quick watch. I mean, if you just watched it straight through, it's probably 3 to 4 hours total and completely worth it. So as far as a MonsterVerse edition, I think this is fantastic because it fits kind of in the timeline between Kong Skull Island and then Godzilla vs. Kong, which I think was the next time we picked up where King Kong was, and it was just really good. So honestly, for me, out of 10 monsters, I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 7.5. I thought this was really, really good. It started a little slow and a little weird, but then it just really like, okay, yeah, this is what I want to watch. This is MonsterVerse. There's still a lot of weird things that happen in this one, a lot of new monsters that are introduced, but that's also probably one of my favorite parts of it. So thoroughly enjoyed this one. I'm going to watch it again. I hope other people watch it as well so we get more of it, but let me know in the comment section if you've seen it. If not, I think you should go check it out. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. Go to that subscribe button if you would. That'd be fantastic. And as always, you're awesome. Peace out.